We heard about a few really crazy hacking cases where there's $200 million stolen, and it seemed really far-fetched because I heard this quite randomly, and you'd expect $200 million, you might read about it in the newspaper. I mean, if there was a bank heist for $200 million, like, the world wouldn't stop talking about it. So we then started wondering why this wasn't, a bigger thing, and we realized there were actually loads of other similar hacks, and James did his investigative journalism, and the rest is history.
Sure. Yeah.
Where's your background from?
So I've been a TV journalist for a long time. I've kind of different kind of current affairs investigations for British TV, and then it was kind of, I assumed, like Louis said, once we got onto this story, I assumed that there'll be other people looking into this kind of stuff and investigating these types of hacks, but very few kind of journalists are looking into it. It's quite a big amount of work needed to really understand what's going on in these cases. So we kind of decided at that point it was worth investing a lot of time into. We worked it out into our first independent film, and that's how we've ended up where we are. That was one of the really challenging things about this, is that most people in the cryptocurrency space are not keen to talk to journalists at all. I mean, they're kind of distrustful of any kind of traditional institutions, and also a very common way in which people are hacked in cryptocurrency is that people will send them a message pretending to be a journalist and then hack them using links that they would send them. So a lot of people were terrified to talk to us, and it took a lot of work to get people to kind of put their head above the parapet. And then once we started looking into the kind of biggest case in the film, the index finance case, it was really challenging to try and keep track of what was going on with this really complicated case and with this kid who was on the run. So we were trying to track down Andy and the whole way through this process.
Essentially, you've got a lot of people that are going into this industry for ideological reasons, because they don't trust the banks, they don't trust the government. But equally, that same ideology is their own death. That is exactly the split within the own community, where they then disagree over, whether hackers are even hacking, whether what they're doing is illegal, whether code is law. So that's really what it's about, is exploring the limits of this this ideology, this kind of libertarian utopia that is kind of deeply fractured when something bad happens.
As a journalist, it's really rewarding to kind of take a story where you yourself found it really, really challenging to understand what's going on in the first instance, and to bring it out to people where outside of the crypto space they really won't have heard of these kind of cases or be familiar with the kind of ideology that Louis is describing that's underpinning the difficulty with charging these cases. And so kind of bringing it to people and seeing how they react to it when they're trying to understand so many things at once, and then getting to grips with this really interesting new area of life that's come about because of these new kinds of technologies, and it's thrown up all these really interesting conundrums for everyday people and for governments and law enforcement to deal with. That's really rewarding to see people kind of grappling with those issues.
Yes, there's El Salvador users, has been using Bitcoin, but also, even the US is going to have several cryptocurrencies as part of the Federal Reserve. So it's something that is ever changing and becoming increasingly normalized, even at United States level.